Yo, what's up guys, welcome back to another video. So you can see we're back in my garage working on my 240. Like always, before we start working, we gotta clean this mess. I know I always have a mess in my garage, but it just happens. If you work on cars, you know the drill. I gotta get rid of these little boxes. This is my old exhaust for the car, and I want to use this vibrant resonator again. So I'm gonna end up cutting it right here on both ends and toss this away. So I'm gonna do that now. Take all this exhaust in the backyard, all these boxes, burn them, and it's not a big mess, just the wheels around and some parts around the floor. As you can see, my hood is over here. I had to move it. If you guys watched the previous video, I had the red Miata in here, and I got that thing running. I literally posted this. I posted at midnight. By the time I woke up, someone hit me up, and he came and bought the car. First person who came to look at the car bought the car, so I'm super stoked about that. And now there's one less car in the driveway and less mess. My brother, I got rid of one, and then my brother went out and bought this E46, super clean E46, as you can see. It's a 5-speed, super clean. It runs and drives. He bought it for a steal. Right now he needs a bushing for the control arm, and he's doing oil change. He's gonna be building this car actually. His plans right now is to do an LS2, I think, on it. But he has his Miata that has a full destroyed die kit. It's a full drift car. He actually never I think he drifted it like once or twice last year. We had a bunch of issues with injectors. He just put some new injectors a couple of days ago, and my friend Tony is coming over to the car. If you guys don't know Tony, on my story, I'm gonna put his Snapchat on the bottom. If you guys need any tuning on any of your cars, hit him up. He can do pretty much any car that has a fuel table. So hit him up, ask him if your ECU is tunable, Hall Tech, Mega Square, Link, any ECU, hit him up and he will tune it for you. And he's really good. He tuned my Miata. I think it runs better than ever, and he tuned this car, run great, but then the injectors were some cheap ones and we had issues with those, so he just put some Bosch injectors and that thing's gonna get retuned. Let me get the floor cleaned up real quick and then I'll get back with you guys. I'm gonna start actually by doing the intercooler piping. Since I know the motor starts, I can now make sure everything stays in here for a while. So I'm gonna do all the intercooler piping and the boost leak test just to make sure all the welds, all the clamps are nice and tight, and then we'll move on from there. And I did, as you can see, I have some cheap oil. I have put some cheap oil in it. I ran the car for like 10 minutes and then I turned it off and I drained the oil, and I have more cheap oil that's gonna go in it so I can drive the car around for a week, and then I'm gonna drain it. So these welds are so fucking bad. These are just straight flux cord, and this one's right here are with MIG welding. You can see the difference between flux core welding and MIG. So I was just practicing here. So I'm just gonna cut it right over here and we should be good. I don't even know if this thing works. I haven't used it in so long. Let's see, it will reach. Hopefully it reaches. Might be good there. That ain't gonna do nothing. All right, not the best cut out there, but hey, decent enough. Let's see. I don't know if you guys can see, there's two pipes inside of this one. I must have just slipped this one inside. That's why it's so bad to cut. It was a pain in the ass to get it cut because I slipped that pipe into here, which I forgot, and it was cutting through two pipes instead of one. But see, it's all nice and cut. Now I can weld this to my new exhaust that I will be making soon. I have all the pipe right here. So hopefully tomorrow I can start on doing the exhaust. And I ordered all the brake pads and rotors for the Z32 calipers. So I'm doing the front and rear dual caliper setup for Z32. So I have to remove all of this out and replace them. All right, so I took all the garbage that was here. Now I can actually walk. And like I said earlier, I'm going to start doing the intercooler piping first. So I'm just gonna get the clamps. I have a bunch of ISR clamps that I bought. So I have a bunch of clamps here, all different kind of sizes. About to get 2.5-inch ones, which are these ones, and start putting the piping together. All right, so I got these 3 done. I put them on the easiest way to take them off. So if I ever had to take them off for any reason, or replace the coupler. Until you get to this one's right up front, get to it, and these two are right on top, and the other one faces the bottom. I'm gonna put the oil on the motor first before I forget, because I'm like terrified that I'm gonna forget to put oil in here and go crank it. So let me do that first, and then I'll do the rest of the couplers. Okay, so I dropped this in here. I was pouring the oil in it, and thank God I saw this, and thank God I got it out. Woo! I was so terrified. I thought I was gonna have to pull the valve cover. It's just not that big of a deal, but I have to take the plenum off, take all this off. So thank God I got this piece of foil that goes on the top of the oil container off. All right, so I got everything ready. All the intercooler clamps are on. I just noticed there's a leak right here. I don't know if this clamp is not all the way tight, which it is, I can see it, or if there's a coupler that's bad here, but I can definitely hear the air coming out. So let me set you guys here. Should be able to hear it. Here's a massive leak. It's coming from somewhere down here. Alright guys, you can hear it's a bunch of air coming from here. This is the gasket, not the spacer gasket, but the one that goes to the plenum itself. And you see all the bubbles here on the throttle body. Those two gaskets are leaking. I did use the gasket. It's a fairly new one. I mean, I had it since last year. I don't know if I should replace it with the same one, or I should go and put RTV on it. I'm not 100% sure, because I don't know how straight this. So it's not metal, it's a plastic spacer between it. So that's why I think it's leaking, because it's not completely straight. So I might have to RTV it. When I took this spacer out of my friend's car, it was RTV both sides. So you can see there's some RTV right here where it connects to the upper plenum. Something about just putting RTV on the bottom, which I do not like to do that, because RTV is a pain in the ass to deal with. So I prefer just to use that metal gasket that comes from factory. But like I said, I don't know. I don't think the spacer is straight. I don't know if I need the spacer. I'm gonna talk to my friend. I might just take it off and run the plenum without the spacer. I prefer to run it without it if I don't need to, because I think that it might hit the hood actually. I was gonna put my hood on the car just so I can test it, make sure it did not hit. But I kind of wanted just to have the extra airflow, but I'm not 100% sure. Like right now, the car won't even hold, you know, 1 pound of air without leaking it. So I want to drive the car just to break in the clutch, just to get everything going, to make sure everything is good before I hit the dyno date, which is on March 7th. So I still have like 2 weeks to get the car running. And so I want to at least drive the car for the whole week, just to, in case anything leaks, in case anything happens, it happens before the dyno day. So that's the reason I'm trying to hurry up and get everything done. But so I can drive the car. I'm not gonna be boosting the car, of course. It's stock motor, stock tune. I'm just gonna be driving the car normally, but I do not want to put RTV yet, because before I hit the dyno, I have to pull the plenum. So the plenum has to be pulled out. So I have to pull the plenum so I can change the injectors to my R35 injectors. I bought GTR injectors for this car just to have the extra fuel that I need, and it's cheaper than buying FIC injectors. I bought them for like $300 instead of spending like $200 on injectors. All right, so I just talked to my friend Justin, and he said to remove these 6 bolts right here and remove the studs. As you can see, I didn't remove the studs. There's one on each side, and that will create a boost leak. And my guess that's why it's leaking right here, because I don't have the extra bolt putting pressure. He said all the plenum spacers, they all leak unless you use RTV. So he told me just to get this 6 taken out of here and weld the holes shut and put a bolt here and use RTV, and it will not leak. Since it's plastic and metal, if you use the metal gasket, it will still leak. So he just told me to take it off and put RTV on it. But yeah, everything's looking pretty good. It's already kind of late. I was helping my brother with his car, so I didn't get much work on my car. I do not know what I want to do yet with this mess. I have all the cables. The harness is chilling here. It kind of looks ugly, but I don't know where else to put it. So actually, I'm gonna go right now and make a list of what I have to do, because I have like the worst memory ever, and I literally forget everything. So I have a little whiteboard right here, and I'm just going to erase this. This is my friend's Fernando's car. I was doing some work for him, so I just have to erase this and put everything that I have to do to my car, and I want to finish it within the next 2 days. All right, so I got a whole list right here, so you can see. I'm gonna go through it with you guys. and I think I'm gonna end up the video after the list, because I do not want to make this video way too long, because if I record tomorrow, then it's gonna be another like 15 minutes like in total video, plus today it's gonna be a long ass video. So let me go over this list and then I'll finish the video. First on the list, we have sway bar links. So I have some ISR sway bar links. Right now, what's in the car, it's some GK, actually some Rock-Auto ones. They literally broke the first day I installed them. Went out and they got ripped off. So that has to come out and swap in the sway bar links, the new ones. But that is not necessary. It's not something that I need to do ASAP. So that could wait. So a couple stuff on this list could wait. Others can't. So yeah. Next on the list, Z32 calipers. So I have Z32 calipers. Like I said earlier, I'm waiting for the pads and rotors to come in. If they do not come in, I can keep these ones on, but I do not know where the pads are. I think they're somewhere over there. I took the pads off because I took the whole thing off, and I have to bleed all the brakes. So I forgot to add this to the list, and I have to install my. Actually, I forgot to add stuff to the list. God damn it! There's way too much shit here. All right, so Z32 calipers, not mandatory. I could probably get away with just using this ones before the dyno day. So this list is what I'm trying to do before the dyno day, and stuff that I need to do before the dyno day. So the first two, sway bar links, calipers, not necessary. GTR injectors and spark plugs. So right now I have some Iridium spark plugs, which is not recommended for boost. I have some other NGK spark plugs that I have to put in, and I have to do the injectors. Again, I'm doing that after I break in the motor. I'm doing this after I drive the motherfucker. I'm trying to talk to my brothers over there busting shit, so I don't know what the fuck he's doing. So I'm trying to do the GTR injectors and spark plugs after I drive the car for at least a week, so I can make sure everything's good. Next on the list, oil catch can. This car did have blow by before, like any other VQ, so I do have to install this catch can before, which shouldn't be bad. You just have to make a bracket and figure a place where to put it. That should be done before I start driving the car, actually, just so I can have it done beforehand. Next, coolant reservoir. Mandatory, you need a coolant reservoir. I had a Gatorade bottle for the past 2 years, and it worked, but it made a huge mess in my engine bay, just because, you know, this motor had a blown head gasket, and I had an issue with it, you know. So I need to install my coolant reservoir, mandatory before the dyno day. Next, fill the transmission. It's not a big deal. Just, you know, I hate pumping the trans fluid in. It takes forever, but that has to be filled in. I have to fill the trans before I even get the car running, of course. Next, AFR gauge and boost gauge. That is mandatory. One, you need to see your AFRs. Two, you need to see your AFRs and boost. So I have an innovative 2-in-1 boost gauge and AFR gauge and boost controller, so I can control everything from one gauge. So that should not be that hard. It should be fairly simple. You just gotta put my boost controller next to the turbo, I'm guessing, and then just run the two lines, power and ground, put it somewhere inside, and that should not be terrible. Next is the fan relay. Like I said earlier, that shouldn't be that bad neither. That should just be power and ground, and then the 4 wires for the 2 fans. So that shouldn't be terrible neither. So again, it probably take me, let's say, 2 hours to do 2 or 3 hours to get the AFR gauge, boost gauge, controller, and the fan relay done. So that's that. Next, super mandatory, make a full exhaust. So right now the exhaust, it's right by the transmission, like facing the trans. So that has to be done as soon as possible. So I think that's gonna be the first thing I want to get done tomorrow. I'll probably go up, fill the transmission, and start doing the exhaust, because that is really, you know, it's mandatory, something I need to get done. And like I got gas now, so my welds are way better, like I showed you guys earlier. So we should be doing that tomorrow instead of waiting till the last day. Next, fuel filter. So right now I have a cheap, it's like a $10 filter from O'Reilly. When I removed my old fuel filter, when I took this motor out, I backwashed it and it was super disgusting. So my My fuel tank on this car was really gross when I bought the car, and I cleaned it as much as possible. And I changed the fuel filter twice already, and it's still coming out dirty. So that's why I put a cheap that's why I put a cheap fuel filter, just because I know it's gonna be dirty. And once I remove the fuel pump, I want to get the new filter installed, and I want to clean the tank again. So fuel filter is mandatory. I do not want to be running E85 with a really bad oil filter, with a really bad fuel filter, so that has to be done. Next, bleed the coolant. So that motor is over there. I don't know where the fuck that it came from. It was super disgusting, like I showed you guys in the old video. So my radiator, I flushed my radiator, but my heater core still has some like gross coolant from that motor. So I have to fill the whole car with water, bleed it, and then once it's bled, I have to drain the whole water and replace it with coolant. So that's gonna take a minute. It won't be that fast. Next is fuel pump. Change the fuel pump, clean the fuel tank. It was gonna take me a minute, not too long, but it's gonna take me a minute. Next, relocate the gauges. This is not necessary, but if I have time, I'll get to it before the dyno day. The two gauges are by the passenger seat, by the passenger dashboard, and I want to get them right in the middle of the dash. I bought a little bracket for them, so I have to relocate them if I have time. Next is the hood shocks. This hood is extremely heavy, and I bought some, I forget the brand, some hood shocks that were like 80 bucks, just because I hate, lifting the hood, putting the prop, and I have to install the hood and put the shocks. Next is the wastegate and blow valve vacuum line. So as you can see, I got my my blow valve and my wastegate somewhere underneath the turbo. I have to run vacuum lines to both of them. I'm waiting to install my boost controller so I can run the wastegate lines. So I have to wait until I do my gauges, which includes my boost controller, so I can do that. So yeah, I have to wait. Next, bleed the brakes. Of course, if I keep these brakes, I have to bleed them. If I go with the Z32, I have to bleed them. It shouldn't be that bad, but it has to be done. And the last thing on the list is install clutch line. So I want to do a hard line for the clutch because the exhaust runs next to the OEM style clutch line, and it's rubber, and I do not want it to melt, even though the exhaust is fully wrapped, and I have a fire sleeve on the clutch line. I still do not trust all the heat. It's gonna be super hot in there. It's a lot of pipes going through the one little hole, so I want to make sure, no pun intended. So I want to make sure that everything it's nice, and I just don't want that line to burst, catch on fire, because if that line bursts right there, the whole thing is gonna catch on fire. So that would be really bad. So I want to get a hard line done. I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do a hard line. Maybe for the dyno day, the stock style line will be good enough with the fire sleeve. I will have to see if I have time to do it. Like, I really hope I have time because I do not want to risk it. But yeah, so that's the whole list. I have terrible handwriting, but I have to get this done. It's Sunday right now. I want to at least get 3 or 4 things off this list by tomorrow. I know one of my friends wants to meet tomorrow. I haven't seen him like in 6 years, so I don't know if I'm gonna have time to work on this much, but I do want to get this done. But yeah guys, so that's it for this video. Like I said, this video is already long enough. I know I did not work much on the car, but I just want to do one day only. Just record each day and try and upload each day if I can. There's a lot of work that I have to do to the car, and it's only me by myself working on it, so it takes a while. So, but yeah, if you guys want to watch more of me working this car. But yeah, so our dyno day is on March 7th, and I'm going more for like 350 to 380 horsepower. I need this motor to last. So if you guys want to watch me hitting the dyno more of this car, make sure to click that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next one.